Capital, all of it, 100% of company capital spend is reevaluated multiple times per day. And this is why the Musk companies grew during the supply chain crunch.
The boldest thing of all the Musk practices, which was the real-time budgeting and having everybody make budget decisions. And I know you have I saw a block with that.
Thanks so much, David. We can't make a capital-backed decision, I like a response to a constrained supplier in the supply chain crunch, a capital-backed innovation or decision or innovation faster than we can reallocate significant capital. Most companies have a yearly or longer budgeting plan, which means that when there's significant change in what customers want, in what's legally allowed to sell, in the competitive landscape, in our supplier landscape, in customer purchasing habits, if there's a significant change of any type during the length of our budget cycle, that is the length of time that our budget is irrelevant and wrong. The solution is shorten the cadence at which you evaluate significant reallocations of capital. Shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. What I'll call Agile at Tesla, or JoeDX, capital, all of it, 100% of company capital spend is reevaluated multiple times per day. And this is why the Musk companies grew during the supply chain crunch, whereas other companies that made long lead supplier allocations shrunk during the supply chain crunch. Now, you can get there incrementally. If currently you have a year-long budgeting cycle, that's what I'll call waterfall. Waterfall is what I'll call a year or longer budgeting cycle. That's fine. Most companies in the world have that. How do we improve from there? Attempt to move to once per quarter of a year. That'd be a meaningful step. It's not as quick as a Musk company, but it's massively faster than your company was. It's an enormous improvement by a factor of 4 or more. Some companies work towards that using a framework called SAFE, Scaled Agile Framework. From a finance perspective, the purpose of SAFE, Scaled Agile Framework, it's an agile method, is to finish some piece of your product once a quarter or faster. That's called a series of release trains and a potentially shippable increment, or a PSI. And you plan your PSIs 1 quarter at a time, and you budget for them 1 quarter at a time. Now, you could lock in a budget for 4 PSIs at once and have a 1-year budget. That's not the point. After each PSI, we want to reevaluate what the next PSI should or could be and reallocate budget accordingly. So the goal financially of Scaled Agile Framework, SAFE, is to take us to quarterly budgeting with quarterly releases, to synchronize product release, product certification, and budgeting, and to get it to once a quarter. Once we've achieved that, SAFE's actually a little too big to be helpful. And a lot of companies now are in this phase where they need to stop doing big room planning and stop having release trains. Those meetings are now slowing them down. And they move to maybe something called LESS, large scale Scrum, where they have agile teams coordinated together by something called a product owner. And the product owner's job is to make 30-day or less budget allocations for their product. So they pull from the overall company budget into a product line budget, and the product owner, for maybe 1 to 7 teams in LESS, large scale Scrum, allocates budget into 30-day or less increments, products to release. So now you're already in rare territory. You're making new hardware and certifying it in 30-day or less cycles. And you're rebudgeting based on the results of your last cycle. That's already amazing, but let's see what happens if we get even faster than that. Then we get to no cycle, pure play agile. This is where practices like Kanban can come in, where teams are encouraged to grow as fast as they can, to certify quality product as fast as they can verify quality, that quality did not degrade, that defects did not increase. They can release new product, and there's no cycle anymore. So now you have on-the-spot budget decisions at any time when needed. And that takes us all the way to what Tesla does, which is digital self-management. They have a highly trained AI that reallocates budgets for us multiple times a day. It uses the auto bidder stack, which is trained on public market data, like Tesla Insurance, trading Tesla Insurance premiums, and selling battery power, electric power, back to the world's power grids from Megapack, Tesla's energy storage solution. And that gives you the legendary Tesla speed, the digital backbone of a Musk company. So where to start? Again, we can't innovate faster than we can make a capital-backed reallocation on innovation. We start by simply trying to make the budget cycle shorter. And a meaningful budget cycle is a budget cycle that matches the product release and certification cycle, which is what I'll call an iteration or a sprint. So if that takes a year right now, or even 2 years, try to make it 10% faster. What can we automate? What can we insource? What teams can we combine that used to be waiting on each other? And that's part of the culture, so that we can release product faster and then synchronize budget allocation with test and release.